Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP. Across this video on my For You, and I thought to share when people are still reacting to the fact that Florida is rolling back its bill that prevent little teenagers from doing these chores like labor and hard work, going to work and all of that. But there is this particular stage from the sister that actually got me agreeing so much, and I decided to just put it up here. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into it.
Hey, Florida. Ron DeSantis says he has the perfect solution for y'all immigration problem. The job that the immigrants was working before they ran them all off. He has the solution to pick up the slack in the workforce that running the immigrants off caused. His new plan, his genius plan, is to remove the age limit for working, for kids having to work. He wants 14-year-olds to be able to work overnight shifts even during the week. He thinks that's the solution for them running off able-bodied workers that were here paying taxes, doing a job, helping the economy. He wants to replace those grown adults with children, and he wants those children to be able to work overnight. Now let me ask you this. What parent wants their 14-year-old child working overnight with adults? And anyone who has ever worked overnight shifts, you know the environment for overnight. It is nowhere near first shift. It's nowhere near first shift. Because the first shift is where the most of the people are there. The supervisors, executive, and workers. That first shift is the shift where everybody is in. That night shift, it's a skeleton shift. There are not that many people around. Now, what parent would trust their child, their 14-year-old, what parent would trust their 14-year-old being in a work environment overnight with adults unsupervised? I don't know about y'all, but those overnight shifts, especially in warehouses, baby, yes ma'am. It's a meat market. And some of the most scandalous crap goes down in those jobs overnight. Now, you want a child in that environment? Let me ask him this. Ron, is your kids going out there? Ron DeSantis, are your children going to be working those overnight shifts? Are any children in your family going to be working those overnight shifts? How about in your neighborhood? Because if there's no problem, your child should be leading by example. Right? I mean, since you're over this is your baby, right? And you believe so much in it, shouldn't your children, as members of the Florida community, shouldn't they want to be leading by example with their father being in a position of leadership? Shouldn't they lead by example, Ron? I think your children should be the first children signed up to work overnight. Just like what you're setting up for everybody else's children, I think your children should be the first one. They should lead by example. That way we know that you really do believe in this, because your own children are doing it. That way we can't say, well, he's saying this is okay for everybody else's kids, but I bet you he won't let his kids. See, you'll save all that backlash by signing your children up first. And I think the parents of Florida should require that. If my child out there, I need all of the people in charge of the Republican Party who made these decisions, who passed these laws to get rid of our immigrants. I think all their children should be out there first, being that their parents created the lack of workers. I think their children should lead by example. Parents in Florida, that's what I'll be shooting up the ladder. Asking them when are their children going to report. how many of their children are going to be working overnight? And you know, they say in Florida, there have been violations for children labor laws. There have been an increase of over 300% of violations being reported of children labor laws. So they figure to get rid of that situation where they're having these laws being broken. They don't want to have them reported. Let's not get rid of the violations. Let's get rid of the rule. Let's get rid of the law. That way we don't have to worry about the violations. So you see, Florida was already using children in the workforce because they were already having like they said, a 300% increase in violations. So they were already starting to use children. Now that you say that, you know, all these jobs these immigrants was stealing jobs from the American people, are you saying you meant the American children? Because none of the adults have stepped in and filled these positions now, so evidently none of their jobs were stolen, like y'all claim. So now that you don't have that workforce, you want to incorporate children. Now let me ask you something. When a child works overnight, that's usually anywhere from midnight to 6 a.m., midnight to 6:30 a.m. Right? School starts at 7:30, and a lot of places in 8. When do those kids get rest? When do they get ample sleep to go to school the next day? And I also heard that you guys are trying right now to create a law where they can't even get food breaks, meaning lunch. So you want them working without any food breaks. You want them working overnight at the expense of not being able to stay up in school all day. And this is solving the problem how? Endangering our children, putting them in places they should not be, putting them in the same places with adults in situations where they will not be supervised. Anybody that's worked a third shift, you know I ain't lying. You get away with more crap on third shift than you get with any other shift there is. People who work in warehouses overnight, chime in. Share some of the stories that you have heard about going on them overnight jobs. The incidents in the bathrooms. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The incidents in the broom closets. The incidents in the area of the warehouse that's closed down after second shift because nobody's back there working. Chime in, people who work. Y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all right there with me. You know what I'm talking about. Let's share some of those. This is what they're trying to put these 14-year-old kids in environment in. This is what they're trying to put them in. This is the environment that they want to put your 14-year-old children in. And the only thing I would tell a parent in Florida is tell them mine's gonna go get them jobs when yours go get them. And then let's see how much they believe in it then. Because there won't be any reason to talk against it, right? A 14-year-old child is a 14-year-old child. Doesn't matter whose 14-year-old child it is, right? Right, Ron? So when these parents say, yeah, my child will sign up for these jobs as soon as yours does, and everybody else in your administration in Florida, when all your fellow politicians, Republicans in Florida, when their children sign up to work, then just tell them that's what my children will report. Because if it's good enough for my child, I know it's good enough for theirs. I know that's what Floridians thinking. I know that's what Floridians are thinking. That if the rules apply to my child, it should also apply to the people who are making these laws. Am I right? Who makes laws that don't affect their children, but other people's children? Come on, Florida. And they think y'all not gonna come out and vote on that. They thinking y'all not gonna come out, that y'all gonna let them turn y'all children into slave workers instead of getting an education that can better their lives when they become adults, to go out there and, you know, create a livelihood for themselves. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm just asking. And one more question. Is it great again yet, Florida?
Florida, Did Ron just tell y'all that your 14-year-olds can get up out of bed and go work the night shift on a school night? That was his way of fixing the immigration problem? That they would just use your children to work? Did he really just tell the people in Florida that? Because if he did, he didn't lost his damn mind. 14, that they don't need 8 hours of sleep. Well, because they just up playing video games in the middle of the night anyway. That they just up watching TV in the middle of the night anyway. That they could be clocking somebody's time cards and working. Or as soon as they get out of school, that they can do, a few hours, 5 days a week, and then hit that Saturday, Sunday. Because the immigrants can't do it. But your 14-year-old can. Did he really just say that?
Y'all, my jaw is on the floor. They are just deporting people like crazy with no plan to actually fill the voids that immigrants make in their communities. So now they're like, hey, let's replace the jobs that immigrants were working by having children work them instead. So they're going to debate proposing legislation that would allow children as young as 14 years old to work overnight shifts.
And then Florida decided that they are going to change child labor laws. Who's surprised? Senate Bill 918 was introduced into legislation that allows children who are the ages of 14 and 15 to work overnight shifts if they've graduated high school already, are going to be homeschooled, or they do virtual learning. And not only that, this legislation also allows for children who are 16 and 17 to work more than 8 hours during the school week and more than 30 hours during the school season. And not only that, it also takes away the mandated break times for these kids. So they want your 14 and 15-year-olds to work overnight shifts. And they want your 16 and 17-year-olds to work 45 hours a week without breaks, I'm sure. But you told us that Project 2025 wasn't real. You told us that the Trump administration and all his Republican people love your children. How much do you feel they love your children now, Florida?
So have you heard about the bills moving in Florida to get rid of our child labor protections and send us back to the dark ages? Well, this is all a part of a nationally coordinated effort led by one of the founding groups behind Project 2025. Let's talk about it. So we saw a similar version of this bill last legislative session in Florida that would have gotten rid of protections for 16 and 17-year-old kids to let them work as many hours as corporations can force them to on school nights and weekends and holidays. It's just a really terrible bill. But last year we were able to water down that bill quite significantly and really narrow the scope and harm of it. This year, the version that's back is much worse, and it also includes eroding protections for 14 and 15-year-old kids, which is a really terrifying prospect. Now, last legislative session, we said that once they passed this, they were never going to be satisfied, and that they would be coming back time and time again to continue to erode child labor protections until there was essentially nothing left. And here we are yet again. This past week, Governor DeSantis said publicly that because of the horrifying anti-immigrant bills that they've been passing that have created a immigrant labor shortage in our state, that he doesn't see what the issue is with filling in that labor gap with children, with child labor. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. He's just saying that publicly like a cartoon villain. And we said last session that that's exactly what they were going to be doing. And now they seem to not be afraid to admit that publicly. And remember, This isn't a good faith effort to fix the wage shortage in our state or to give kids opportunities to get jobs. This is being pushed by a far-right think tank called the Foundation for Government Accountability, which has been pushing bills like this in other states across the country. Ultimately, their goal is to worsen child labor protections on the federal level. This is one of the groups that is behind Project 2025, and they're founded by some pretty crazy far-right billionaires. Now, not only do we have a labor shortage in Florida, but we also have a wage shortage. And the real solution to this labor gap that we're experiencing is to, first of all, stop attacking our immigrant neighbors and their families, and to raise wages across the board for adults so that they can provide for their families instead of forcing their kids to go to work when they should just be getting an education and focusing on being kids. And don't forget that what happens here in Florida doesn't stay here in Florida. Florida has been the testing ground for some of the worst policies in Project 2025. In fact, we put out a report this summer called Project 2025 is Florida 2024 because they've been treating us like guinea pigs for the rest of the country for years. I mean, look at Trump's cabinet. Half of them are Florida appointees. Of course, Florida Republicans have no real interest in doing anything to help raise wages for working families in our state. In fact, right now they're trying to do the exact opposite. There are 2 bills moving that would allow employers to sidestep our state's constitutionally required minimum wage. This would be a disaster for working families in our state. In fact, Senator Randy Fine, who is running for Congress in a special election this week, said on Tuesday that he would like to see an amendment added onto one of these bills to allow kids as young as 13 to start working. It's just insanity, and it's not what working families in Florida need. Ultimately, we know who will be most impacted by bills like this. It'll be poor kids, working class families, and migrant children. The people who can't say no when their employers are going to try to force them into working these crazy hours on school nights and put them in dangerous situations. So we need you to take action. Go to the link in our bio and fill out our action form so that you can send a letter to your state representatives asking them to vote no on this terrible bill. This bill has a hearing in the House on Tuesday. So do it urgently and share it with all of your friends and family. So remember, the solution to artificially caused labor shortages will never be to force kids to work more. We need to stand up for working families in our state and across the country. So follow us here at Florida for All. Check us out on Substack, Instagram, and TikTok. And let's stand together and fight for a better future for all Floridians.
Lovely. So we all know, I don't know if you guys are actually aware of this bill from Florida dissenters and all of that, talking about how they want to allow teenagers, 14 years and all of that, to go back to work, like because they're having this shortage of workers. Like this actually brought me to thinking, like, so these people were just all busy deporting people, having mass deportation without any form of backup plans. Like when this mass deportation stuff was all over the social platform and people getting deported, even documented and undocumented, migrant getting deported, I thought at the back of my mind that these people had a second, a plan B, of how to fit in these gaps, these jobs that was done by the immigrants. That means they never had any form of plan B. They were just deporting people without fixing how people can take over the job that is left by these immigrants. And now, it happens that the plan all along is beginning to surface, gradually. And it all started from Florida. It was just so easy for them to come and, roll back a bill that prevents teenagers to do all these chores. Like, what are they trying to do? They are trying to make things difficult for people and allowing these teenage people to work. They're not getting educated. And at the end of the day, poverty continues. Like, it's all about work and money. And now when I saw this sister, she happens to be one of my favorite TikTokers, and she was like, they should start up from there. Like, they should start up from the centers, children, family, relations, and all of that, if they really want to do things right. And I totally agree with the sister. I totally agree with the sister that a leader should actually lead by example. So I think if he really want this, and he deep inside of him is something that is going to balance the economy, make the economy, strive. Maybe he should start from his home. He should start from his home so that people will get to learn from his own offspring. And I bet you they will never do something like that. I bet you their offspring is going to be the last people to ever do something like that. They know exactly the people that they want them to feel in such position. They are not doing that because they actually want their offspring to go feel like. Do you think that they will allow their offspring to do that? And now they want people to do the same thing. They want people to allow their offspring to do that. Like one time I posted the part one of this video. Let's just call this the part two. So a lady left a commentary in the said video, and she was like, "Oh, thank God, I am actually child-free by choice. I don't have a child because I can't stand this." Like, what makes them think that when they enable something like this, people will want to give birth? Like, who want to give birth to a child that will go on labor when this child is supposed to be in school to study? People are already complaining the way at which women are refusing not to give birth and all of that, child-free by choice, which I don't have issue with anyone. Like, everybody have his or her own intentions. Like, if you want to be free, no children, and not that, oh my God, it is your life, and nobody has the right to tell you how you want to live your life. But with that being said, with this new whatsoever bill that are trying to like, nobody will want to actually have, they will just end up getting things worse. So they never had any form of plan B, and they're trying to, or they are getting people who are doing these jobs out of the way. What happens to their brothers and sisters coming to take the job and do it? He can also start from his own family. He can, before allowing other people to, he needs to lead by example. Like, seriously, these people do not just have, they don't have, and they know exactly what they are doing. They're just trying to create a gap. They don't want you to complain. They don't want you to have an opinion. They don't want any of your commentaries. They just want anything they bring in here, take it. It's either you take it or you leave it. Like, who can actually, this is just so ridiculous because things are supposed to be going forward. But it's as if things are going backwards. And they don't care about that. This is what really happened where some bunch of, I don't really want to use some, and in a certain position that is meant for people that, Anyways, love this, but I just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So guys, please, if you don't subscribe to this channel, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button. And to my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, to my almighty channel members, thank you so much for all the love and support. And I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.